What do you have to say on the topic?
Happiness is individual. You can't depend on someone else to provide your happiness. So it's kind of futile to expect a man to do that for you. So when women say I'm not happy, I begin to look at them funny and try and understand, why aren't you happy? That's your responsibility, no one else's.
Right.
If you're in a relationship with someone, you're supposed to be complimenting them and not expecting them to do for you what you should be doing for yourself.
Have you ever been married?
No, I have not.
Any children?
None.
Okay. When was the last time you were in a relationship?
About
What? How long ago? How long ago? I don't know what's going on with you. Hello.
Hi, I'm here.
I asked you how long were you? How long were you in that relationship?
About a year. It was a year.
How long ago was that?
I'm sorry, that was 6 months ago that I was in a year-long relationship.
Okay. What was the longest relationship you've ever been in?
2 years.
And how long ago was that relationship?
Ooh, about 5 years ago.
So, you're telling the ladies that happiness is your responsibility, which I agree. But you're unmarried, no kids. Did you ever want to get married?
Absolutely, I did.
Do you still want to marry?
I do.
Okay. Um, have you ever been engaged?
No, I have not.
So what's the holdup? What do you think the holdup to getting married is then?
The holdup is actually me. I have no problem saying that. I have high expectations, and I realize that a lot of people just can't meet them. And instead of me kind of
Wait a minute.
accepting
Wait a minute.
them being
You have
mediocre,
high
I just rather be
expectations.
by myself.
You have high
And
expectations. Hold on. You have high expectations.
yes,
You want to share what those are?
absolutely. I'm a Christian, so I would like for my potential mate to be a Christian as well. I would like for him to be self sufficient for himself, nothing to do with me. He's fully
Self
able
sufficient
to
for
support.
himself. That
Pardon?
just means self sufficient for himself. That just means
Yes,
that
has
he
nothing to do
can.
with me.
Okay.
Just he's living his life, doing his thing. I also expect him to have some initiative and to have goals for himself, nothing to do with
What does
me.
that?
And
What does that
just
mean? What does that mean?
meaning like he's not satisfied with just the mediocre run of the mill. He has goals, he has passions, he has things that make him excited.
Okay. Did you go to college?
Absolutely.
What's your degree in?
Major in sociology, minor in communication and business, and I also hold a master's.
I'm a PhD.
Um, are you making over six figures?
Not yet.
Not yet. Are you making over $80,000 a year?
No,
Over
just
six.
under that.
Okay. And what state?
Florida.
Okay. So a lot of men would hear what you're saying. And how tall are you?
5'9".
Dress size?
22.
How much did you weigh last time you weighed yourself?
I'd rather not say, but I am definitely a plus size woman
Dress
for
size
sure.
22 means you're about 230 pounds.
Yes.
Okay. So you don't have to say I'm an image consultant. I'm just giving you a chance because I'm listening to what you want.
Hmm.
And you say the man that has ambition and has goals. Would it be, do you think the man that would fit your lofty standards would have requirements for a woman?
Absolutely.
What do you think some of those would be?
You've said this in multiple conversations. definitely they want someone who is fit. And I
Mhm.
realize that's an inequity that I have. So that's why I'm not upset about my status, because I'm not meeting that. And that's only fair. I'm a fair person. So how can you expect something of someone and you're not meeting that?
Well, you said that you can't find a mate because your standards are too high. And I'm going to ask you, are your standards higher than your sexual marketplace value?
I don't think so, because I'm very realistic in where I sit. I'm not saying I'm a 7, I'm not saying I'm a 10, I'm not saying any of that. So I know where I am. That's
What would you rank
why
it?
I
What would you
can
give
sit
yourself? What
back.
would you rank yourself?
Pardon?
What would you rank yourself?
Right now, because of me being a realist, I'm probably a 5 at best. And a lot of that has to do with my weight. And I
Okay, what would you rank?
recognize that.
This your looks. How about your weight to the side? What would you rank your looks? Fresh face out of the shower, no makeup, just you.
I would say I'm about a 6.
Okay. So go back to what you said. The reason I can't find someone is because my standards are high, are pretty
Yes,
lofty. Um, but you don't think your standards exceed your perceived sexual marketplace value by men.
correct.
Yeah, they do. The things you're talking about you want from a man is a provider male. A man that's, I'm assuming you want a man who's making at least what you're making or more.
Around that, yes.
Okay, but
But I'm
you're
not.
making right around 60, right?
Yes.
All right, ma'am. Okay. I need you to listen to what I'm about to say. A big part of the issue today with women is you guys have used these careers and these degrees and this perception of the value of it, but where it matters is where it gets in the bank. So you could have a master's or whatever, but you ain't making master's money. At 44, you've pretty much you're topping out on your income. Okay, that's just what it is. Um, you already talked about the weight issue, and you got to be realistic that a man with ambition is going to want a woman that's going to be fit, and that is something that you have every bit of control over.
Right.
So it's not because of your standard. I could make the argument that you're just lazy when it comes to being fit for a mate.
Hmm.
Because you do have control over this. But what do you, if you had to give yourself out of 100%, what do you think the likelihood that you will marry in your lifetime?
Oh, 30%.
30%. When you reach 50, what do you think that percentage would be if you're still unmarried?
15.
So you have 5 years before it goes from 30 to 15%.
Hmm.
What are you doing to make sure you get married in the next 5 years to
Actually,
the kind of man you're
actually,
talking about?
what I'm doing is, when you think you're doing something correct and it's not giving you the results that you want, you gotta look for information. And I've learned a lot by listening to your program and other people who have similar views. And I stepped back and I said, you know what? It's not wrong. So I'm in the process of fixing some things. And
What
the weight would
exactly
be
are
the
you doing?
first one. Pardon?
What are the top three things you're doing?
Um, looking for another job, weight, actually creating a weight program for me to stick to and actually achieve realistic goals that I've set for myself. So I'm giving myself about 18 months to get to the number I think would make me healthier. And I think 18 months is a realistic time period for
Uh-huh.
me to
What's
get
the
to
other
the
one?
weight that I
What's
want to
the other
be.
one? What's the other thing?
And the last thing would be kind of just investing in myself through counseling, like actual one-on-one counseling,
You got a
so that I
counselor?
can
You
work
got a
through my
counselor?
own personal issues.
You got a counselor or a therapist?
I am looking for one.
Okay. So, ma'am, I'm going to be honest. Job, that means nothing to a man.
Mhm.
Weight, you're not in the gym. You're not working with a personal trainer. You're not doing anything. So you're fitting her. I'm about to. I'm about to. I'm about to. I'm getting ready. I'm gathering information. And I'm going to talk to the ladies. This is one of y'all biggest problems. Y'all, you guys don't do shit. Y'all just sit and listen to what tickles your ears. And then no counselor. And then you say you're going to give yourself 18 months when you said you have less than 5 years before your marriage prospects decrease by half. Ma'am, you're going to die alone. I mean, you said that happiness is your responsibility, not the man. I'm glad you said that. And this is your responsibility too. Because
Mhm.
information, how many times do you need to hear me say men want fit women before you become a fit woman?
Could you repeat that last statement
How
again?
many times do you need to hear me say men want fit women? How many times do you need to hear men say men want fit women before you choose to become a fit woman?
Um, Remember how you said, "What are you doing to make this happen?"
Hmm.
I'm not like most people. I just discovered you within the last week and a half.
Well, that's
So
fine, but
this is
ma'am, but
new
ma'am, but ma'am,
information.
but due respect, ma'am, you live in Florida. That's not Mars. You know men want women that are fit.
Mhm.
This is a new information. We're roughly the same age cohort. So are you, can you honestly say you're really doing the work, or or is the work too much at this point?
Oh no, I'm doing the work because, like I said, happiness is for me. And I know that
Mhm.
I would be personally happy with me, not even considering a man, for me to achieve my personal fitness
Oh, so
goals or
you're
me to
okay.
move.
So you're okay. Okay, but happiness is for you. But we're
Hmm.
talking context relationships. So when you ladies start talking like this, I immediately bristle because now you're diminishing the outcome. It's like, well, who needs to graduate with a 4.0? A 3.5 will do. No, there's no reason. How about you lower your standards? How about that? How about you lower your standards in a man?
I don't, well, the standards that I have, I don't think they're like excessive.
Yes, they are. Is the average man ambitious?
Mm, I
Is
I don't know.
the average person ambitious?
Well, then I would have to say no. Well, then that
Okay.
must mean,
All right, man. But if the average person isn't ambitious and you're average, or would you say you're above average? Now, you said you gave yourself a 5, right?
hmm
I think that's optimistic. I think it's very optimistic. So, if you're even what you say you are, why do you get somebody who's ambitious? when there is nothing about you in your life today that's ambitious. It's average.
Interesting.
I'm trying to understand, why do you think that's interesting? You've had the longest relationship you had was 2 years. You've had a relationship that's 1 year. You're 44, no children. You got a bachelor's and a master's. You're making around less than 60 grand a year, and you're 230 some odd pounds. That's a lot. And then you say, I want a man who's ambitious, who has goals, and is driven. And I'm like, well, you can want that, but but can you afford that with your sexual marketplace value? You said your goals, your asking price doesn't top your sexual marketplace value. I think what you're asking for is twice what your sexual marketplace value is.
And I can definitely understand what you're saying from, what you believe. All I'm saying is, for me,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I would be settling, and I'm not willing to do that.
Ma'am,
So,
I need you to understand what you just said.
mhm.
Why would any woman, not just you, any woman that's middle age, 230 some odd pounds, getting a man who is average, why would that be settling?
The ambition part is what I'm talking about when I say settling. It's
What
not the
does he
finance
need to have?
part because,
What does he need to have ambition for? Maybe that's a better question. What does he need to have ambition for?
well, like for me, I believe in generational wealth and planning for the future. So that's something that, you know,
You have no
not a
children,
lot of people
ma'am. You have
talk
no
about.
children. You have no children.
That's true. I don't.
Where are the kids going to come from?
Pardon?
Where will the children come from?
Would probably be adoption at this point.
Ma'am, generational wealth is a buzzword. You have no generations, right? You have no children.
That's
Do you
correct.
plan on giving birth to any children?
Well, science is not on my side, so I'm a realist.
I asked you, do
So,
you plan on giving birth to any kid? So what I'm hearing is you still hold. And see, when I was going to do HBO, the last O was not going to be omnipotence. It was going to be optimism. And ma'am, you've painted an overly optimistic picture. At 44, ma'am, you're still holding out hope that you can get married and have kids, right?
no, I've come to the place where I don't think that's a reality. I've been thinking about that.
How long has it been since you accepted that reality?
Mm, about a couple months.
Couple months, man. Due respect, ma'am. A couple of months at you're almost 50 years old. What month is your birthday in?
It's in July.
So you'll be 45 in July. You're almost half a hundo.
Hmm.
And you're talking like a woman in her 20s. And I'm glad you're being honest, but I'm sad. What saddens me is that I see so many women in our generation who are delusional to where they're still talking this stuff about settling. Do you make room for the fact that a man would have to settle for you?
It's a possibility simply because life is about choices and we have to choose
Well, I
what we
mean, when
want.
I say settle, what I mean by settle, because you're five, what again? Five tall, 5'9", 5'7"?
5'9".
Okay, man. Okay. If black men were snapped away from the earth tomorrow, poof, all gone. Every trace of black male DNA is gone. What do you think your marriage possibilities would be now?
If there were no black men?
Yes, no black men. None. None
Well,
exist.
realistically, from the information I've gathered, it would probably be like 0.
Okay. So the 30% number is because of black men.
Mhm.
So you think black men's standards are lower than other men? Well, mathematically, that's what you just said.
So I don't. Well,
I'm just asking because what I'm asking is you said I got about a 30% chance and at 50 it drops to 15. I'm like, okay, cool. But what if I snapped and all the black men are gone? All the black men are gone. Just then you say my chances today, where does that 30% go? You said to 0.
well, I'm basing it on the information that I've read, where they said that of all the population of women, black women are the least likely to be selected.
Okay, we're talking
Um,
specifically about you. We're talking not all the statistics, but do you have ambitious non-black men approaching you for serious relationship?
could you repeat that last
Do
part
you
again,
have
please?
ambitious non-black men approaching you for serious relationship?
To be honest with you, I really don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I guess the question I'm ultimately asking is, do you think do you think a black man who's at your desired level would accept you, but would a white man, Hispanic man, Middle Eastern, or Asian man at the same level of that black man, would he accept you? Would any one of them accept you?
Mm, I don't. Not at the same level. I don't think so.
Whose level is the lowest?
Pardon?
Which race of men's level would be at the lowest?
Asian?
You think an Asian man would accept you before a black man?
No. I thought you said the other way around.
No.
The
Whose level is at
lowest.
the lowest? Meaning, who would be most likely to accept and least
Oh,
likely
who
to
would be the
accept?
most Hispanic, probably.
Hispanic men will more likely accept you over a black man.
Hmm.
No. Hispanic men in general, the culture is very family centric. And women get to be around your age with no children, the family, the generation. And see, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to have a conversation that everybody can use. And you came in saying some things that, hey, happiness is not on the man. And it sounds good. But I know what women are going to say. Okay, well, what are your relationships? And you don't have any relationships, really. And then that's fine. Life happens. But then you start talking about you would like to be in a marriage. And then you said the reason I'm not married is because of my standards. And ma'am, your standards are astronomical compared to your sexual marketplace value. The more we've talked, the more sure I've become the fact that you got a G wagon. You know what a G wagon is?
No.
A Mercedes SUV, the
Oh,
square
okay.
ones.
Yes.
Things like $250,000, right?
Hmm.
People are paying $100,000 over sticker to get one in high demand. You got a G wagon kind of expectation, and you're like a Honda Accord, and you don't see it. That's why I changed the races of men, because you said, I feel like I got a 30% chance of getting married today when 1 in 4 black women will marry in their lifetime. And you already know you're 44, you're as tall as you are, you weigh what you are, what you do. You already know these things. So that, if you were being realistic, like you said, that should really have lowered your number to about 10%. But you have to believe, because at this point, I get it. That's all y'all got left because you're not doing the work. And then I said at 50, what does it go down to? About 15%. Now, at 50, it goes down to almost 0. And you know why I say that? Because if I just simply switch the race of men, the truth comes out. I'm saying this so you can understand that, man, if you want to have a different outcome, you're going to have time to put yourself on an 18-month timetable. You'll have time to finish. You need to do that today, tomorrow. You need to start this tomorrow. And you need to lower your expectations to match where you are. All those things need to happen. The job, not so much. The weight, the counseling, and then lowering your standard to match what you are. And see, we tell men to lower their standards all the time, but women are told to aim for the stars because y'all don't want to settle. And it just confused the hell out of us men to why average women don't want to settle. Audience, am I missing something here? Did you have anything you wanted to say, ma'am? Go ahead. You're not on camera. Go ahead.
No, what I was going to say
Speak
was
your
just
speech.
that
Speak
I
your
think
speech.
I am aware of what you were trying to get out. Maybe I didn't articulate it properly. I know where I am in life because of choices that I've made. It's more apparent because I have listen to information that makes sense and I can see the validity in it. One thing that I am is self-aware. And if I'm misstepping, I will take accountability for that. So unlike a lot of people who will never say, oh, it's not me, it's
Okay.
someone
Hold
else.
on. Use
Yeah,
less
I
words.
knew before we talked
Okay.
that
Hold on.
I
Use
had
less
things
words.
that I
No,
needed to
whoa.
fix.
Okay. Hold on. Use less words. So you say you do know where you are in life based on the choices.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm aware.
Okay.
I just
But if
didn't
you,
think
but
ambition was a high standard, but when you
well, yeah, it
talked about
is.
it, it
I mean,
makes
it is.
sense. I
It
didn't know
is.
that.
Hold on, you're over talking.
I didn't realize that.
Ambition is. Why do you need an ambitious man at almost 45 years old? You don't have any children. You won't have any children. What do you need a man to have ambition for when you're over middle age? The building phase of life is over. We're in the later years, and especially if you take into consideration weight and health. Come on, man. Why do you need ambition? You said generational wealth. Women should want ambitious men when they are in their 20s, not 40s. But the real thing is because I believe I'm higher than I don't believe that you really have a good grasp on where you're really at. I really don't. Let me go ahead and unmute the other ladies, but uh, hello,
Hello.
how are you?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Good. How old are you?
42.
42. So how important, happiness, how long should happiness last? Or are you willing to be bored in a relationship? That's what we're talking about tonight.
Um, Younger me was not willing to be bored.
Okay.
But more mature me realizes that every day is not going to be happiness.
Okay. Do you have any children, by the way?
I do. I have one daughter.
And are you single or are you married?
I'm married.
Okay. How long you been married?
A little over 2 years.
Okay. All right. Lauren, let me unmute you too so we can have a round. She's just in here looking at TV. This woman is in there looking at TV. Yeah, you sitting on the couch. All right. If you're not going to join the conversation, we're going to bounce you. All right. So you've been married 2 years. Did you marry your child's father?
No, I did actually marry him and we divorced.
Okay. Lauren, hello.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. You seem like you got a lot of stuff going on. You got other folks in the room with you. Seem like you're watching this on TV. What's going on? Okay. How old are you?
25.
All right. What do you got for me on the topic? And you got a very short leash because you got too many people in the room. So what's going on?
I don't know.
All right. Antoinette, We're back. I don't have time to play. Okay, don't join my show if you're not gonna come in. She's been here for 20 minutes. So you've been married for 2 years.
Yes.
Why was you said the younger you wasn't willing to deal with boredom, but the older you is? What is that? Explain what you mean.
I mean that any relationship, whether it's with your husband, your mother, your father, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have times where you don't like them. But at the end of the day, that's your family and that's your husband. And you made a commitment and you need to work it out.
How old is your child?
16.
Okay. Are you done having children?
I am.
All right. And y'all got married. Does your husband have any kids?
No.
Okay. And you guys been married for 2 years?
Yes, we've been together for 10, but married for
10?
10 years, yes.
10 years. Why did it take 8 years before y'all got married?
I know I'm going to get it for this, but
Let me get the soundboard ready for you.
Wanted to finish school first.
Oh,
I'm a PhD.
what's your degree in?
I have associate's degree.
That take 2 years.
Huh?
That takes 2 years.
Well, I had prerequisites to do.
What did you have a prerequisite to climb Mount Gibraltar? I mean, come on, it's 2 years.
Well, we didn't get engaged until I was approaching starting the program.
Okay. So y'all together 10 years.
Yes.
You've been married for 2, but you didn't want to get married until you finished your associates. Well, okay. So, because I don't know, what was the logic behind that?
The logic for me was I was not looking forward to going back to school, and I used marriage to him as an incentive, as a motivator for me to finish school.
So it's like for getting my associates, the reward is marriage?
Well, for me, that was my train of thought at the time, yes. It was, this is something that I want, so let me do this thing that I don't want or that I didn't want to do. And as a reward, then I would, focus on.
Did your husband ever want any children?
Huh?
Did he ever want kids?
No.
He never wanted his own kids?
No. I would have gave him some, but no, he did not want any.
So I'm always curious. Why black women seem like y'all are terrified of marriage? Because to say, you know what, let me put off a marriage when we're already the lowest rate of married women out there, so I can give myself an incentive to finish a 2-year degree. What if he just said okay and left you the next day, no question? I mean, straight up left, ghost, no contact, gone.
At the time, I was thinking, because school was so hard and so rigorous, that if my relationship survived, then it was meant to be. That was my train of thought then.
So, see, I want you guys to understand, black men. This is why I say sell out to femininity, because none of this stuff makes any sense. You guys put so many impractical, burdensome, and outright foolish things on marriage to where if it doesn't work, you can say it just wasn't meant to be. This is why I say you're home wreckers. So if I'm correct, he's like, well, if he would have left me, then it wasn't meant to be.
Yes.
Wow, man. You're honest, but damn.
I am.
So,
And I would,
so do you realize how that low that says y'all value us?
how low it sets
How low
women's
it,
back.
how low that how low black women that communicates black women value black men. Because I mean, again, ma'am, you have an associates, and what's your associates in?
Nursing.
And I mean no disrespect, I really don't. But it's not
I
like
know
you're
how you
talking
feel about
about
nursing.
getting nuclear. You're not like you're talking about nuclear physics or something from Princeton or MIT. You talk about a degree you can get at DeVry or something, man. Nursing. And I'm saying this to put a little levity into it to say that you're not uncommon. A lot of women will be willing to risk a relationship for a man. You can unmute yourself, Antoinette, because I left you unmuted. Hold on, let me ask you to unmute. Yeah, women are told fairy tales in life, and y'all are told that men are just supposed to be do all this stuff. Go ahead. Hello.
May I interject for a moment?
Go ahead.
The reality check that I've come to this conclusion, we were misinformed as girls,
Mm-hmm.
and we grew up into women who continually be misinformed, because what I'm hearing from not only your platform but from just in general, men want extremely feminine women. So to be sweet and to be kind and to listen and all those great things that have nothing to do with a degree. And what I'm understanding is if you're super feminine, you'll get the man, he'll take care of you, he won't leave you, but you got to do your part. And that's the part you have to do. You have to be feminine, you have to be kind, you have to be
Well,
sweet. But we're told, go get the degrees,
who
be
told you? You
self-sufficient,
told
do
that
all
by
these
who?
things.
Hold on. Who told you that though? We say we were told
And
this. Who told us that?
parents, be self-sufficient,
Which
go and
parent?
get your
Which parent?
degree.
Which parent? Which parent?
The mother, typically.
Okay, so you say we were told. Y'all need to go back to who told y'all that. Men don't have any part in the reason why mothers tell their daughters to go. And oftentimes I've had on this panel that women who were married have told their daughters to become independent, but then they wouldn't give up their lives. And my point is, now gas is almost $6 a gallon. It ain't a game no more. It ain't, and all these things that y'all are doing is like, well, I'll wait and I'll do this, I'll do that. Why are we the only community that waits so long? Our marriages last so short, and then the women are still like feel like they got all the time in the world and optimism. It confuses us as men. Let me bring in Tina. Tina,
Can I
your
ask a
audio is not
question?
connected. Go ahead.
Where do you think, because I definitely agree with her as far as it was instilled in me by my mother and my father
Hmm.
to get my education first and then think about family. So where do you think that did the disconnect?
Okay, were your
Where,
mother and father married?
huh?
Were your mother and okay? Let me make sure. Was your mother and father married?
No.
Oh, I see what's going on. Hold on. I see why they can't hear me. Testing. Can you guys hear me better now?
Oh,
Yes.
beautifully,
All right.
beautifully.
Yes.
It just jumped out of your mother and father were not married.
Correct.
Okay. That's why were your mother and father not married?
To my understanding, because of infidelity on his part.
So your mother had a child before she married her for okay. So
Yes.
have you ever got your father's side of the story from his mouth?
Yes.
Okay. Part of the problem is because we're all Generation X. So many women in Generation X bought into the feminism movement and told their daughters to get out and get a degree and this other stuff.
Mhm.
But that does not mean get out and get a degree, and then wait about getting a man down the line. Where are you supposed to get him? You weren't. It's not the degree. It's you were not raised to partner or work with a man. You weren't even raised to learn how to do with us. You think about what it like for you, Ariane. Is that it?
Arian.
Okay, Ariane. What did your mother raise you to do for a man? What did she tell you you're supposed to do for a man? Hi, Tina. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thanks for
Go ahead.
asking.
Go ahead. What your mother tell you, raise you to say? This is your duty for your man. This is what you're supposed to do for your man.
She told me a lot of what not to do. The biggest
It's always the starting point. They always tell her what not to do. What did she tell you to do?
She told me to put my husband first before the rest of my family. Once I'm married, to put him first, above her and everyone.
And how are you supposed to get married then?
Well, she pretty much, I guess, left the rest for me to figure
Thank
out.
you. So in other words, you got this kind of instructions. Here's a bunch of stuff not to do. How do I get a husband? I don't got nothing for that. But once you are married, put him first.
Yeah. She
But then
did
they
lead
also
by
tell you to go to
example.
school. But they also tell you to go to school. Okay, so you weren't taught to do anything for us. So this is when y'all default to sex and babies. But you don't.
Kevin,
Hold
Kevin,
on.
may I interject? Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, no, because you're not. Well, no, you don't. You're not taught to what you're supposed to do for us, and then you wonder why you can't work. Hey, Tina, how are you? How old are you, Tina?
I'm 32,
All right. Are you married or are you single?
divorced.
All right. Any children?
2.
All right. So we're talking about happiness, boredom, or whatever. What did you want to interject on the topic?
I wanted to speak about happiness and why
Okay.
it's probably unrealistic.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, this is someone that has been in a marriage, and just from my experience, I think that it's being over glamorized. And I don't think people, well, women, understand that sometimes excitement is not going to be there. Some days it's just going to be one day after the next, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that it's a bad marriage. It just means you're living life. I just wanted to add stuff like that.
It's boring. You have a routine. Tuesday soccer practice, Thursday kung fu. I mean, you got a routine. It's boring. It's a job. So you're asking, why did you get the bad information? Women, there's a long theory, but at the end of the day, a lot of women didn't had children before they had a husband. So they had to think in terms of survival. And women were taught to survive without a man. And they thought that telling you going to get a college degree was going to make you more attractive to a man. But this isn't what men pick women on. We pick women based upon your natural role, our support system, femininity. Now, I want to clear up something too. Just because you're a feminine woman does not mean you get a man to take care and buy everything. No. Hispanic men, you got men coming across the border illegally who stand out in front of Home Depot or Lowe's or at the day labor centers collect cans. They are at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the bottom. But when they go home, they still have feminine women. Femininity has been taken, and it's something that modern women, especially in our community, use as a bargaining chip. Well, if you give me enough masculinity and perfection, I'll give you, because I don't want to give you what my grandma or somebody else gave. How many of y'all seen The Color Purple? Anybody? Have you all seen The Color Purple?
Absolutely. Just watched it the other day.
How many times have you seen it?
Too many times to count.
Okay. In your life, have you ever, how many families, how many Color Purple like relationships have you actually seen in your life?
A good number.
Really?
Hmm.
Where?
Whether it's women that I see in the community or at church or something like that, you can see it.
Really?
And when you see
No,
them
no,
show
we're talking
respect.
about Mr. and Miss Seeley.
Oh, no, 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 no. Excuse me, I was incorrect.
What were you talking about then?
I was talking about the Harpo Sophia relationship where she was a super strong woman and
Okay.
he was not. I see that pretty frequently,
You see these women with husbands?
but dysfunctional relationships,
Hmm.
because that was a dysfunctional relationship. They were married.
Now you do realize that we only have like a 30% marriage rate. So you say you see this all the time.
Not all the time, but I've seen it throughout, my lifetime.
Okay.
It hasn't been a one
Okay.
time
Well,
or a two time
let
occurrence.
me ask you this question. What is your what is your relationship role model? What is your role model of a quote unquote loving, functional relationship?
Well, I look to my parents because they'll be celebrating 49 years. And I was going to share with you, my mom taught me through action, not necessarily telling me,
Do you have any
but
siblings?
yes, I do. I have a younger brother.
Is he married?
No, he's not.
What did you? Any children?
One
Boy or girl?
boy.
What did your mother teach you that you're supposed to do for a man?
You're supposed to provide a loving home and you're supposed to honor and respect him. The way that you do that is basic necessities. Yes, you have to cook and you clean, but you show respect by cooking the things that he likes, being interested in what he's
Is
interested
your brother
in.
older than you or younger than you?
Younger,
How much younger?
2 years.
I could make an argument that your parents failed because
Okay.
they got a 49-year marriage, but two of their kids are single as French toast. There's no generational wealth. There's no legacy. It's over. So what I'm saying is we do a lot of talking in our community. And we say a lot of good shit. But when it comes right down to it, where does the rubber meet the road? Where are you practicing these things with a man? Especially if you say your role model was your mother and father. Where in that is ambition? Or any of the things that you're trying to look for in a man, if they were together 49 years, was he an ambitious 10, 20-year-old? Where did ambition come in with your daddy? In year 40, in year one.
I don't know.
Have you ever asked have your parents ever asked you why you never married?
Of course,
And what was who asked you, mom or dad?
my mom.
And what'd you tell her?
I told her similar to what I said to you.
I can't find a man on my level.
Hmm.
All right. So, and remember what I said earlier? A lot of times women get married and they'll have marriages, but they won't teach their daughters how to do it. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Your mama was married almost 50 years. It's your relationship model. But when you talk about the color purple, you talked about the color purple with some passion. You still watching it. That shit is still playing in your head. And it's one of the things that's wrecked our community. But then when you sit down with your mother and father, who I would have loved to have had, most of us would love to have that, a 50-year relationship. You should be married with kids teaching us. And then your mama asks you, why didn't you got married? Did you ever ask your mama, well, what did you actually teach me to do? You gave me some platitudes. You gave me a Bible, but what did she teach you to do on a daily basis for a man?
I could say that my mother did show me by watching more
Okay.
than verbal.
Okay. So have any of you been around any other cultures, like Hispanic or Asian?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you notice,
Yes.
let's say Hispanic culture, do you notice that the women are in the family areas of the house, the kitchen and all that stuff, the men in other areas?
Yes.
That's and we're all over 40. That's how we used to be.
I like
Thanksgiving. You're under 40, yeah.
I like to add, I spent 6 years living in the Middle East after my divorce.
Okay.
And the dynamics that I saw that the women lived in over there versus how we live here and what we feel so entitled to. It's extremely strange living there and experiencing it. And when you're over there and you see how the women interact with their men, it is not the same.
Are they
They
happy? Are they happy with their families?
they're extremely satisfied. They have the
Well, Tina,
utmost.
get out of there, Tina. Tina, no, no, no. See, that they're repressed. They're abused. They're second class citizens. That's what's been pushed to y'all. But they're happy.
Oh, I lived there, and I'm talking about I lived in several countries in the Middle East, and that is not what I saw. I didn't see oppressed women. I
Yeah, I
didn't
was
see.
being facetious. I was being facetious because this is a lot of you ladies ask, and the color purple was about an empowered woman breaking free of an oppressive black man. Black men have never had the power to oppress you like Mister. Waiting to Exhale, I read the book. They picked the worst stories. You got to understand, if you study World War II Germany, propaganda, that term, propaganda was used in the womanist feminist movement to sell you guys, hey, we got this issue with our man, and it's like a civil right.
Mein
And
Kampf.
what did y'all do? Y'all went on over there, and you got women who were feminists who were married. So, and the end result is it comes between a daughter and a mother. I'm gonna ask you, Antoinette, your parents have been married for a long time. Was there ever a point in time where you thought your mom was probably should have made a different decision? She probably should
I'm
have.
sure. I'm sure. Yes.
No, I'm asking. I'm not. I'm not. I'm. Is there ever time where you're like, man, she probably should have went ahead and got her degree and explored life more instead of settling with dad so soon?
Well, actually, she did it after she took care of her primary responsibility, which was being a wife and a mother. So she didn't do it until we were all grown. So,
But a lot of times in our community, the women look down upon the women who stayed at the house. See, remember, in baby boomers, I witnessed this. Baby boomer women looked at silent generation women as fools. A lot of them. You put up with this cheating and this and that. I mean, and then they all went off and started having babies and having affairs with married men and shit. The craziest stuff in the world. But here's the thing: if this is ever going to get fixed, women of y'all's age are going to have to talk and get this stuff sorted, because the younger women, the reason my platform works is because younger women are saying, I don't want to get the outcomes I'm seeing with a lot of women in their mid 30s to to late 40s. That they don't want these outcomes. They want marriage and children and generational legacy and all that. Everything you're talking about, Antoinette. And if you had a good map, a good role model, I don't know what happened. But if you're going to have any chance of putting this on the right course, fitness has to be at the top of the list, because that's what men pick on. Men pick on visuals. And generational wealth, you need somebody to finish the rest of life with. That's why I'm like, you're going to have to settle. And I hate saying settle, because honestly, men feel like they're settling for y'all. Yeah, do y'all understand what I mean when I say that?
They are, in a sense, and
I would say this: is men who, as a man who's dated other races of women, there is a difference between the cultures.
mhm.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So what do black men get for choosing to stay and fight through this? What's our
I agree with you, Mr. Samuel, as far as us having to start some type of informational situation with females, because that that's one of the things that a lot of us don't have. We don't have like a cultural setup.
Mhm.
So when I
True.
do something like clear the table after we have dinner, or that impresses men here. Now that I
Mhm.
went on my journey, I came back with those little tools. When I clear the table after we eat, the gentleman looks at me like, did you just clear a table? Did you just that's customary for the women over there. Over
Right.
here, we don't practice that.
Right.
Simple.
I had a woman come onto my channel, a Hispanic woman who was married to a black man, and she said that anytime I go to serve my husband, serve his plate or whatever, his sisters, his mama, and all his female relatives sit back and like, girl, what are you doing? You ain't got to. He been getting his own plate his entire life. He ain't got to that. And he's like, well, that's my. And to the point to where these unmarried, overweight women are telling this woman who's married.
Mhm.
And here's the problem: because there are no fathers in the household, women feel like they're in power. I got a video on my channel, 39 minutes. Ain't my problem. That's the video. I challenge you all to watch it. And I asked the woman a question: what is more important, the black woman or the black community? And she basically said the black woman. Because you guys have been put to a point where you're like mini gods. When you have children outside of men, you are responsible for the kid's lifeline. You are responsible for everything. The first time most black children see a black man of any authority is likely in junior high or high school. So when you out here dating, y'all don't really look at us as your leader. At best, we're your quote unquote partner. To where you talking about, getting a man on your level, and it's like that is so. I mean, I understand where it comes from, but it's like you need to get to his level. You getting his last name. But it's like black men are supposed to prove something to y'all before y'all want to be women. Or be our women, should I say. Because I did ask you, if I snapped all the black men away, you know you'd have to change a lot of things real quick. So get the lights up, folks, before the chat goes off. Anybody want to add anything to the whole? Anybody have a son? Do you have a son, Tina?
Yes.
How old is he?
13 this year.
And you have is your daughter younger or older?
He's younger than him.
Okay, so what are you going to teach your son that a woman is to do for him?
Well, what I'm teaching him now, I'm teaching him that he needs a woman that really values exclusivity,
Mm-hmm.
that values privacy. And based on how I maneuver and how I live, that's how I'm teaching him.
Okay.
I don't know any other way to do so.
Right. Where's his dad?
Dad lives here in Texas too. We co-parent.
Okay. So exclusivity, but what is what are you telling him a woman's supposed to do for you? Or do you know?
Well, the thing is, I think that my son's 13, so I think that I have to ease into the subject with him a little bit, because right now we're stuck on the hormone part of it. We're stuck on why he wants to have, why he has sexual urges and what he's supposed to do about it.
Right.
I have not reached that point on what type of fulfillment and companionship, as far as what he needs from a woman.
One of the things I want to challenge black women is to stop this. You ain't got to eat shit on these kids.
You think
I started talking to my daughter about sex at 7 years old. You know why? Because in 9 years old, girls was giving. Look here, y'all. No,
Five
don't
or
eat.
tell them.
Listen. The answer is, Tina, you don't know what to tell your boy to expect from a woman, and that's okay.
In this environment, no.
But the thing is, but I want you to understand that for the average black woman to admit they don't know something is damn near Herculean feat. So y'all just make it up.
No.
When the better answer would be, I don't know, because what you need to teach your son that a woman.
But I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing. And it's going to be difficult as a divorced woman. Did you file for divorce or did your husband file?
My husband, my ex.
All right. All right. Well, you were in the Middle East. You teach him that the woman belongs to him and she's supposed to serve you.
I plan on exposing him to that environment. I plan on taking a situation where me and him in particular moved there, and I plan on him getting self.
Mhm.
Over there is different. The black man is different.
Right.
It's So I
No,
want.
what do you mean over there it's different?
Yeah, I just want him to see us in power. I want him to see us in the image that we really are, as far as
Before that happens,
Mhm.
for a man to be empowered, we need ownership. How empowered do you feel in an apartment?
Well, I feel
I need you to
now.
listen. I need you guys to listen to what I'm about to say.
Yeah,
I'm
go
dead
ahead.
ass serious.
Mhm.
When men come into this country illegally across the Rio Grande, they are at the bottom of this society. They run from INS and everything else. But the one thing they have is they know that they have dominion over the women.
Mhm.
And the women act like they have dominion. The women fear the men more than they fear the government, more than they fear INS, more than anything else. Women bow to the men's authority. And when a man has dominion and ownership, the natural leadership abilities have to protect it because that's mine. But you have to teach your boy that he is over her. Does your daughter serve? How old is your daughter? She's younger, right?
She's only 9, yes.
Okay. When dinner's done, have your daughter serve your son's plate. Does she do that now?
She does that now.
Okay. Does
Mhm.
your daughter know that she's supposed to serve her brother?
She knows.
Because now, why? What do y'all think about that, Antoinette, Arena? What do y'all think?
I have no problem with that. I grew up with that. When my mom cooked dinner, daddy is served first, then my brother, then myself, and then her last.
Arena, what about you? What about would you have a daughter, right?
Yes, I do.
What do you think about that concept?
That's how my mother is in her home, and that's how I serve my husband also.
All right,
I,
but
I
I'm
live in
saying,
Alabama, so it's
do you
pretty
have, do you
normal
have,
down
do
here.
your, do you, is your daughter around her any of her male cousins or anything?
Um, I don't. No, they're out of state. They're
See,
out of state.
this is
No, but
another,
she does serve her stepfather. When it's
but it's
we're
different.
cooking
It's
dinner.
different. It's different. It's different though,
Mhm.
because there's the gravitas of age. Y'all, one of the things that mothers don't need to start doing is putting your daughters around male family members of her age, and they should be serving them because then they will become natural. But
Mhm.
honestly, most are too afraid. I don't want to put her around her cousins because he's got his little hormones up. Stop worrying about these kids fucking and teach them the gender roles. Because at the end of the day, you cannot give black men a pep talk into being a man. You can't give it in a book. It must be shown. And you show by just like why do you get pets when you're young? So you can understand life and death, responsibility. Well, then how is he responsible? I guarantee you, if your son, Tina, went out out to the playground with his sister and somebody was to touch his sister or do something to his sister, you expect your son to whoop somebody's natural ass.
This
Well,
happened.
then she should submit to his natural ass.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. And it's one thing to say you saw it, Antoinette, but how are you living it? You submit to your degree and your standards before a man. I'm good at what I do. I got a long memory. And so what I'm saying is all the stuff that if you're not doing it for a black man, a manager, a black man in particular, that's why I asked the sister the other day. If Oprah Winfrey is your feminine role model and y'all are independent, fine. Then how do we move a community forward with independent women who aren't wives and are mothers? How do we do that? And she struggled with it. And I'm like, well, what about because the reality is I grew up hearing that black men didn't want this. And I'm like, I know I wanted it. And a lot of other men, we want that. But we wanted it from our women. But our women seem to be very resistant of being women today for anybody or for us in particular. So this is why it's important. I look at a woman and where she's serving men in her life. Are you in church, Antoinette?
Yes.
Is there any, well, I don't know. Even in the church, man, there used to be one place you could go to see women serving men. So how are we supposed to lead if the women are already conditioned to follow us? This is why I say, Irina, I'm sorry if I keep butchering your name. Your daughter's 13, right?
My daughter's 16.
16. Well, yeah. She's a couple of more years in the house. It's very important to, hey, maybe catch up, summer school, because if she's not a feminine woman, she won't attract a masculine man.
Mm-hmm.
And you know the outcomes when men aren't in their masculine. Then you start wearing, he ain't a good baby daddy or this or that. It's all intertwined. It's all intertwined. And I think it's important, Tina, that you saw another culture, because what it got marketed to black women is you don't want to be oppressed like Miss Celia and Mr. And you need to exert your rights and dominance. When women are happiest, when y'all are with your sisters and your cousins and your children and your families, and then doing something, if you want to work out, have a business in the home or something. But we made it seem as though being the business of family isn't a worthwhile pursuit. And we got a bunch of women with jobs living in apartments.
That's true.
So anybody, go ahead.
I was just going to say everything that we have been exposed to, albeit from our parents, media, has pretty much trained us to be independent women. So now we're learning from you guys, men, that this is not what you want, or these are not the things that you hold as a priority. So now it's like, okay, well, we got to scrap everything that we learned growing up and listen and try to adjust kind of in mid-flight. And
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I know it's a lot of work. In the chat room, we're going to need at least 30 more people to hit the super chat. This is an informative discussion. Y'all already didn't hit the like button. I had to turn the chat room off once. Don't be riding off of a Benevolent Elephants donation. Support the platform, because no one's having these conversations. Yes, and I want to get to your point. A lot of women feel like this is a lot of work to do, and I'm already such and such age. Well, what's more important? And this is the question when I hear women talk about they care about the community. Are you ready to sacrifice what's rest of your life for the betterment of the community? Are you ready to do a kamikaze mission? Or are you still holding out that you're going to be the one to fly back to the carrier? And a lot of women will talk this community stuff, but you ain't doing anything other than just what you want.
Must I add
Go
that
ahead.
I got I got proposed too young at 17. I married at 18.
Okay.
Um, I got ridiculed. Like I got talked about, I got put down
Uh
for
huh.
that choice. But when I made the decision to go in the army, I got congratulated
Right.
for it. It was a bizarre situation because I was happy to be somebody's, wife or whatever, but just having those two things happening at the same time, it was just like, hold on, why aren't anybody encouraging me to, be a part of this marriage? Why
Thank
is there this disdain? That's
And
all.
that's what you can do. You may not be able to go back and be a young wife and have children, but you can encourage the marrying age women to marry. Stop telling them to go to get a college. Stop telling them hot girls summer live your best life. Encourage the women of the community to marry and marry not early marriage, but earlier. Certainly between 23 and 25, 26. That's most women were getting non-black women were getting married around 21 to 23. All right, encourage earlier marriage. And what does that do? You get earlier marriage, we get more people in the community. And yeah, you may not be a wife, you may not be a mother, but even in the church, you need to impress upon your pastors that you need to start talking more about family and marriage and stop the prosperity and start the sin. You should not be a baby mama with 3 kids by 4 dudes sitting on the front pew saying amen. You also shouldn't be walking around in a sackcloth with a scarlet A on your head. But we need to bring back some standard because the church should be the one place where women who are not married can still have a sense of community. To where you may not be somebody's wife, but you got the women's group, you got the women's auxiliary, then you see amazing things happen around the thing that built this black community, the church. But the churches were ripped through with feminism. And you'd be amazed that there will be more opportunities for women who think their past relationship, if you would just be willing to get back to family. My mom, shout out mama, I love you. She was one of the most original feminists, hardcore. My mom would shoot them. She catch boy. My mama got married at 50. You know what my mother
Yay,
did?
mom.
She did what she was learned how to do. She stopped these silly. And the thing is, lived a better life from that point on, home and family and everything else. Women need a community. And you ladies who are in your 30s to 50 need to talk to the young women about community. And community in the black family has to start with marrying a black man. It can't be the community is just women and kids. And men come through, do a flyby with some sperm, and then we weekend dads. Fuck that. And if
We have
y'all
our
start
work.
talking to women about, I didn't do it, but facilitate the community, pressure the churches and everything else to talk about this stuff instead of singles ministry, older singles ministry. Forget putting the money in the kids and the elder and the married. Put it in the singles. And people will sort themselves out. Relationships will still happen. May not be what you dreamed of, but it'll be better than dying alone. Go ahead. Anybody?
Yes, I remember in the Bible there's a verse that speaks of older women educating the younger women. And basically you're saying that in a 2022 version that we need to correct our mistakes and our missteps by doing
Right.
what you said, which is going back to being the feminine women that we once were and celebrating that. And there's nothing wrong with getting married and getting married young.
Yeah,
Well, it's Titus 2, verse 3 through 5. That's what you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
It's always been the responsibility of the women to teach the women. And it'll be far more effective coming from you guys than me. I mean, you got to think about how crazy it is that I went viral on World Star Hip Hop. Me. 52-year-old black man in a suit went viral on World Star Hip Hop like 12, 14 times. And 35,000 people watching live streams. It's because the women needed to get the information from somebody. And if a corporate black man had to go viral on World Star Hip Hop, that tells me that the need is there. There's so much that can be garnered through there. You talk about businesses, be an entrepreneur, people keep saying you need to have Kevin Samuels University. We're going to start doing town halls and stuff around the country, Tori. We're traveling and talking. Heavy security though. But the thing is, the women need to start sharing this stuff, because maybe you don't become a mother, but maybe you're a godmother. Maybe you, I grew up in a neighborhood to where I knew my grandmother, my mother, my aunts, my uncles, but there was also the people who I could go to just like family, almost just like family. They didn't make dressing like my grandma, but close. And we need to get back to community. And that doesn't mean you don't have an education. That doesn't mean this, but what good is your education and all this other kind of stuff if it's not being used with the man for the betterment of a community? And you ask why this happened, because 73 cents out of every dollar in this country is spent by women. Every other culture, the dollar circulates anywhere from 16 days to 6 days. In the black community, you get paid by 5. It's gone by midnight. We're a $1.5 trillion economy. And we can put this stuff under the tutelage of a family structure, man, woman, children, community. Y'all know our population ain't grown since the 60s. We still at 13%. Y'all don't know how many children are being deleted. Man, don't make me start preaching. But anywho, this is why I talk to women, because the men know what we think, but we need y'all to tune back in. I didn't get what I thought I didn't get what I wanted in life. I wanted the Cosby thing. I didn't get that. I was married, divorced twice, but you still. Can you turn that off for a minute? But you still have to. But life can still be worth a hell of a lot. You can still be worth a hell of a lot. And that's my challenge to the women in the 30s and 40s and 50s. Maybe you don't get what it is that you wanted. And maybe you'll have, I get so much. I don't have a son, but I get so much from seeing young black men walk up to me and be like, saw you on TikTok. They don't even have the vocabulary. They even have the word, just kind of like, but I can see it in their eyes. I'm like, well, that's generational wealth. That's legacy. And you ladies have a legacy you need to pass on to the younger women to make them more amenable, more receptive, to where when a young Tina gets married at 18 years old, she's praised instead of shouted down. We're more willing to throw a chick a baby shower than her wedding shower at 18. Just like we're more willing to celebrate Nug Nug coming out of a 10-year bit than Jermaine graduating with his bachelor's in engineering. That's our responsibility. So I appreciate y'all. Anybody want to say anything before we wrap up?
Just want to thank you. Just want to thank you for actually speaking on it. I know men have concerns. They actually try to tell us these things, but we're so
Can you give me 5 minutes and I'll turn the fan right back on?
Go ahead.
We're so disillusioned. I think that we are manipulated by false hopes and by certain entities, and that's why.
Okay. It's starting to break up. But here's the thing. Appreciate y'all, ladies. Thank you, Arena. Thank you, Antoinette. All right. So here's the funny thing, that life. I could have never imagined being in this position. And like I said, this ain't about me. I'm taking a little bit of time I have with a little bit of spotlight I got. I think Generation X, we're going to be studied for years and years to come. We're not going. We're sandwiched between the baby boomers and the millennials, but that does not mean we don't have something to input. We have to redefine all of this stuff because the only way I think this is a wrap is when we give up. When we give up and be like, man, I don't need no man. I don't need no woman. Fuck it. All right, cool. That ain't going to end too well for any of us. So, but remember, I'm still 10 toes down with the fellas. This is a men's platform. I want women working with men. I want women understanding you're better off with my straight up, hard working, average, everyday $21 an hour man. I want you to understand that life is better with him than you think you got by being free to do what the French toast you want to do. It is much, much better. Stop thinking just because you can go to eat at Nobu or whatever every now and then. Stop. Anyway, I could preach. I'm not going to preach. But anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Tomorrow night on Instagram, I think I get a lot of backlash from you, and rightfully so. I can't be provocative. But I can tell you one thing, I know my heart's in the right place. Because if I wasn't, I couldn't be as consistent, do this stuff as long. I want to see a better outcome for men, and men want women. I'm just asking black women in particular, this is your time. This is your time to decide, to declare. It's time for you to vote. It's time for you to vote for black men, black boys. You got black children, put the resources into your son. You cannot spread them out equally because any community builds on its men. If you got 4 kids and 2 of them are boys and 2 of them are girls, the boys need to get more. Oh shit. Let's talk about that Friday. I will probably get, if I don't get canceled. All right, whatever. Anyway, that's cool. That's great. That's until the next time, y'all. You know how it is. Your godfather's gone. Good night.